ClickUp is one of the most extensive project management applications on the market. It's got so many features that they've even had to hide stuff behind something called Click Apps. The application is designed to help you and your team better manage your projects, but it comes with so much: documents, docs, AI, Gantt, project management abilities, task management ability, Notepad. There's so much in this app. Today, we're going to break it down for you with timestamps as well as details as well to help you find out whether ClickUp's right for you. We're going to cover things like pricing as well as much more details. Welcome, my name is Francesco D'Alessio. If you're new to Tool Finder, hit subscribe. If you want a deal on ClickUp, if we can get one at the current time, it will be up here or here, I can't remember, but at least it'll be down in the description below. And if you're interested in exploring more about ClickUp, you can find it over on Tool Finder and a bunch of other project management apps if you're in the hunt for a tool like that. So let's start with the pricing. Pricing is pretty important when you're looking for a project management app, and ClickUp has some fairly reasonable rates right now. There's a free plan with pretty extensive access with the limit of 100 megabyte storage. Then there's two other pricing plans that will get you access to a bunch of features, but they're broken down into two separate experiences. So do make sure you check out the best one that's suitable for you. But they're priced at $7 and $12 per month. Both of these billed annually for the year. So I've picked out different features and sections I want to talk about. So you can use timestamps, but let's roll into that, give you the best insights on whether ClickUp's right for you. So let's start out with what ClickUp actually is. The application wants to replace multiple tools in one platform, and it's mainly tailored towards small to large teams that want to be able to utilize everything in one application. Some applications don't have the ability in project management to bring everything and house it into one location, whilst ClickUp tries to do that with the application, and it does that using project management, documents, whiteboards, and many more features. Now, naturally, it's aiming to be one of these versatile applications for productivity in teams, and it is doing quite a good job of it. The application has been advancing with new Brain AI features, which we'll cover in this video. So, with all good things, let's start with project management. Inside of ClickUp, you can manage your projects in a variety of different views. The application does give you some good access as part of the free plan, but it's important here to double check that the view that you like is available in the pricing that is most suitable for you, because they do break down some of the features, in particular some of the particular views like timesheets, timelines, and mind maps as part of the experience. Now, inside of ClickUp, you can use a multitude of views across all of the different plans. The most popular are List, Gantt, Calendar, Document, Board, and Table, and they all reside in somewhere called Spaces. Spaces can be broken down into separate projects which you can manage as part of your space, and this is great for breaking things down even further. You can make these spaces private if you do want to, and it helps you to break down your tasks into more actionable chunks as part of each project. You can also add an additional set of views like Forms, which is great for collecting data, Dashboards, which is a popular feature for tracking metrics and insights, Timeline, as well as Activity, Workload, Whiteboard, Team, which helps to see what the team are working on, Mind Map, Maps, which is Google Map type technology, and chat functionality as well for communicating on a particular topic. As you can see, what ClickUp's trying to do is bring everything and house it into one location. The application does have some advanced features when it comes to these abilities. So let's start with something like Board View. Inside of Board View, you can break down your tasks into a wide variety of groupings, all the way from to do to in progress, as well as see a wide variety of settings, including filtering, sorting, even modes like Me Mode, which focuses on you and who is assigned to particular people. You can also customize quite extensively the fields and also subtasks, as well as access templates, which will help save you a bunch of time. The customizations inside of each of these are pretty extensive. Now, of course, this is just one of the views, but if you click into a task, each task is assigned a task ID, which helps you to find it across your ClickUp account and comes into play when you're using other features like AI and other stuff like that. Now, the application lets you organize stuff in status, dates, time estimate, tags, assignees, priority, time tracking, and relationships, all typical properties that you see inside of the account. And below you can also add custom fields, attachments, subtasks, and action items to break things down even further, as well as an activity sheet. And as part of all of this, the ability to link up relationships like tasks and add attributes like waiting on, blocking, linking document, and custom URL connection as well. This one is really great because you can minimize a task into your taskbar, which you can find down at the bottom page, easily accessible. You can even switch the layout to a full screen, sidebar, and more whilst accessing each of the tasks. Now, in terms of tasks, obviously these will appear inside of your different areas. Your home area is designed to help you focus on what you're working on, but can be designed and built out to whatever management style you want. For example, in here you could have things that other people are working on, assign comments and recent items that people have accessed. You can even have one of the more recent AI stand-up features that we'll talk about a little bit later. But the whole idea of home is so that you can manage your cards, and you can manage your cards a bit like widgets, allowing you to add more items to them. And when it comes to tasks, you can also add reminders as well. Reminders are good little ways to notify yourself on a particular thing that might not actually be task orientated. It could be something around a task, but something that doesn't warrant a full creation of a task inside of your account, which is a handy feature which is accessible in the top right hand corner. You can also press R to access that as well. Anything you create inside ClickUp will obviously reappear at the right time for you. Now, in terms of accessing more of the different views, calendar mode is a great one for visualizing tasks, and it also has some great extensibilities on the right hand side for you to be able to organize unscheduled and overdue tasks. And the settings page is really extensive as well. As you can imagine, there's a wide variety of different layout views which you can access too. And at the top, you can also add things like description, assignee, and priority details, as well as list dates and stuff like that. Now, obviously, everything inside of the different views that you see in project management is underpinned by automations. You can set that up at the top, and you can add an automation as part of a library. And what's great is a lot of these are set up when it comes to using automations if statements, which will help to save you time doing certain things. For example, if a certain item lands in a certain area, this must happen as part of it. Now, obviously, touching on the many different views, there's Gantt view, which is very popular, table view, which is made Monday.com and other such applications very popular, as well as the ability to see timeline view, which is locked under a certain plan, but a great, more expanded way of being able to see your Gantt chart as well. For teams that are looking at capacity management, there is workload and team abilities. And now I want to move on to talking about whiteboard and documents in a little bit more detail. Documents is one of those things inside the account which is great for collaborating and bringing together a wiki experience. It's what's made popular applications like Notion very much the hot topic. And you can create and manage documents very much in the same way inside of ClickUp. And it does have the ability to bring in data that's super helpful. So for example, you can create a new wiki from scratch, or you can import from Confluence. And what's really nice is some of the command bar abilities that I'll explain in a bit. So documents are really easy to access. You can see a filtering option at the bottom to see any of the shared, private, or workspace associated documents that you've got. But creating a document is really simple. You can also create a wiki quite easily, which helps you set up verification for certain amounts of the accounts that you've got, which is perfect for re-verifying documents when your team are working on them. Now, creating a document is really easy. It's very much like Google Documents. You get to work creating a blank structure, or you can use things like tables, columns, or ClickUp lists to help do that. The AI is a quite fundamental part of this, and you can also edit things like the font and other details like contributor and properties that you want to show and hide inside of that. There's also relationships as well and templates to help get you started, as well as a range of exporting abilities too. But any of these items that you do work on, if you press / command, you can start weaving in certain elements that you've created as part of your ClickUp account. For example, if you want to see a ClickUp list in there, you could browse one of the accounts that you've got and bring in all of that detail so that you can have live information as part of your ClickUp document. Now, whilst this isn't as extensive as Microsoft Loop, it will allow you to keep live updates on certain elements and keep those pages updated, especially if you're doing something like a presentation. Now, each of the documents has really extensive abilities when it comes to templates. You can create a range of templates, and there's so many good examples that you can peel from the account, which will save you a bunch of time. And sharing abilities not only internally but externally are pretty decent. You can make a ClickUp document public, which means you can share it externally with a client if you find that more suitable. Now, when you create a wiki inside of your account, if that's something you want to do, it'll stand out as part of the document experience, which is a great way to start making a separate area for your account. Now, when I talked about the command bar, it can be accessed by pressing Command K. Now, you can find anything from tasks to documents to whiteboard inside your account, but there's also an ability to connect up apps. For example, if you already have a Confluence and you didn't want to import it, or you still access it, or some certain team access it, then you can still bring that in. By connecting it up, you can bring all those items in, as well as things like Dropbox files, Figma, Google Drive, GitHub, Jira, Salesforce, and much more. If you wanted to access a task, it's quite good because it brings you straight to that task. So the command bar is a pretty great way of getting stuff started. Now, if you're on the Chrome version, or you have Google Chrome and you've installed the extension, you can also use the extension to save certain items to your account. Whether that's tasks or screenshots, you can quickly save them into your account, attaching them to a task and adding more context to them, which is great for quickly capturing items for later. And if you go to the top of the page and press New, you can actually create a document from the top of the page and even start typing away, which is really, really helpful. Now, if you don't want a document because you don't want to add a bit too much detail, but you want to add a small note that might be useful for later, there's a personal notepad creation area where you can start typing away notes and even convert it to a task at a later point. This is great for something really small, but you can also convert it to a document as well, which is very helpful. So that's a little bit more about the documents, but how do the whiteboards work? Well, the whiteboards are a great way to collaborate. Creating a new whiteboard is pretty easy because all you have to do is go ahead and press Create Whiteboard. Now, there are a range of templates. For example, concept mapping could be a good one to start with, where you can start visualizing ideas and customizing the details, like the size of the text, or maybe even the color ratios that you're using. You can even, inside of here, import things like Google Documents, Sheets, Slides, YouTube videos, Figma, websites, and even tasks that are part of your ClickUp account. This is really beneficial because if you're looking to start weaving tasks in that you want to be able to mention, then this is all interactive as well. You can click View Task and that will pop up with a bit more detail, which is pretty helpful. You can also add a range of sticky notes, shapes, text, and even more mind mapping abilities, as well as templates as well to save you a bunch of time. But ClickUp items are a really great way to be able to build things out. You can also add and turn this into a different view. For example, mind mapping is a much more structured way of doing a whiteboard. For example, if you want to visually represent tasks on a mind map, whilst it looks and has the same feel as whiteboards, it'll have different abilities to breaking tasks down even more. And it basically takes existing structures of your account and makes them more useful. So that's a really beneficial way to start interacting with your account. Now, whiteboards can be accessed and searched as well, very much like other details too. And there's also a dashboard feature, which allows you to bring together team reporting. For example, if you want to bring together things like tasks outstanding, or even number of tasks assigned per person. Or if you've got a whole CRM system set up, then something like a dashboard that has all of the data being brought in from certain accounts might be helpful to display even on a company whiteboard inside of your team office, which would help you and your team keep aligned on what you're focusing on. And it's a great way to be able to bring all that information together and keep it aligned as part of a team. So it's something to consider when getting started with your account. Whether that be projects or the structure of some of the different monetary items you're working on, like CRMs and Clients One, it all could be very good. Now, this gives me a good segue to talk about AI. Now, AI is built inside of ClickUp as part of something called ClickUp Brain. Now, ClickUp Brain is basically the idea of bringing all of your different access points and using AI to talk to them. So for example, if you want to weave in tasks and documents, then you can do inside of ClickUp. So for example, if you want to ask a task like, for example, what checklist items are in the email campaign task by myself, it'll start compiling that answer and bring together a response for you. Now, it also is very helpful by helping you to create and copy certain items as well as regenerate them if they didn't get it quite right. But suggestions like what tasks am I working on will help you to bring together an idea of what you're doing for the day, sort of like a generative AI assistant as you work across your day. Now, it has direct link backs to certain items that you're working on, which helps scan across all of your ClickUp account. And this is really, really helpful if you wanted to create a document to start for your day and build that out. Now, there are a bunch of abilities like tracking daily progress and insights with real-time task updates, which is a nice ability, as well as a bunch of different list summary items. So for example, if you missed a few days of work and you want to be able to catch up on what's been happening with certain things like trending tasks, milestones, then you can start bringing that together as part of a team. You can also start scanning your Google Drive account to see what document sheets and ask questions about them, which is helpful. Same goes with documents. You can ask the responsibilities outlined in the video process document and it'll start compiling the answer for you, helping to find stuff that is inside of a huge breakdown of your account is going to save you a bunch of time. Now, one of the best ways that I've seen this being used is the fact that you've got the ability to see and interact with the task as well, being able to open them pretty quickly as well, which is something that's really extensive. But you can also use it within your items as well, which basically allow you to do things like summarize documents, action items, and spell check, which helps you to quickly get access to items. As well as in the example, like for example, when you're inside of a task, you can also be able to open the AI up and do things like write a description for the task and even create a summary of the task and even generate updates for the task. It's really quite good in terms of what it can offer you. It can also find similar tasks as part of your account to help you not make sure you're double duplicating tasks or missing certain things that other people are working on. So as part of each of your projects, you get this ability called Overview, which helps you to see all the different projects you're working on. It allows you to make each of your components smaller. So for example, across all the different projects that you're working on, you can make a real customized space for the projects that you're managing, a little bit like the home area for your account, which is a really nice ability. Now, ClickUp has so many extended abilities, like the ability to save clips as part of your account. For example, you can record a recording of your something you're working on and save them instantly, which is really helpful if you're somebody that wants to be able to replace something like Loom. The application doesn't work as extensively as Loom, but it does have some good abilities for sharing updates and collaborating with other people. There's also goals as well, for example, seeing zoom outs and timesheets, which naturally are locked under the more premium pricing, but does have some great abilities in your account. ClickUp has such a range of abilities, and something I haven't mentioned is the ability to create a chat function, which is like real-time chat, but is actually more like mentioning a task and signing something to somebody, but also has some great commenting abilities that allow you to collaborate. And the application has so many functions that I probably won't get to them all in this video. You can even turn on and off 37 features as part of ClickUps, and I actually haven't got them all clicked on as part of this demonstration because there are so many specific demonstrations of them, like for example Scrum planning items and time estimation roll-ups, time tracking, and so much more that you probably aren't getting fully aware of it. If you're looking at ClickUp, it's because you're looking to try and centralize all of your items in one location, and it does a pretty good job of that. Now, the application, in my opinion, isn't as well built as other applications like Asana and Monday.com. Sometimes I do notice the stability of the application isn't as core or well done as those applications on the market, but the application does try and host much more than any other project management app I've seen on the market bring into one app. And this application wants to try and do that as a hub experience for your workload. So will you and your team consider getting ClickUp? Or if you're somebody that hates context switching and wants to be able to bring everything into one location, doesn't want to switch between applications, then this application might be for you. It's great for small, medium and large sized teams, but does take some time to get set up and doesn't have as good a stability as some other applications. But it will do well if you're looking for those sort of abilities of reducing context switching. Thank you very much, and if you're interested in getting ClickUp, you can find it linked below. If you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comments, and use Toolfinder if you're hunting for more project management tools. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Cheerio.